Hey, this is Randy, and good morning. Welcome to Morning Thoughts. Told you last time that we were talking about deception, and got a few responses on it. Wish that I had some more, but I'll get more. And I left you with the question: are we a democracy? What do you think? Are we a democracy? If not, what are we? Well, I found out. I did a little research and found out. So let's look at the definition of a democracy. And I'm taking it out of the 1828 Noah Webster Dictionary. Democracy: government by the people, a form of government in which the supreme power is lodged in the hands of the people collectively, or in which people exercise the power of legislation. In other words, one vote, or one person, one vote. And so that was the government of ancient Athens. They had their own government. It was a democracy. And the founders actually studied that and looked into that because that's what, and the thing they found about democracies was that they could turn into a tyranny, or some people have called them a mobocracy. And but a pure democracy is just that. It is where the majority rules, the mob rules, or the majority rules in that. And so you say, well, isn't that what we are? Yes and no. We are a republic. What a republic is: it's a commonwealth or a state in which the exercise of the sovereign power is lodged in representatives elected by the people. In modern usage, it differs from a democracy or democratic state in which the people exercise the power of sovereignty in person, like I said, one person, one vote. That's for this one. It's a representative, and that's what you see. We call it a representative government, but our government is not just a plain republic, or it's not even a democratic republic. That's what a lot of people like to call it, because we do vote the people in, and there is democratic, but we are a constitutional republic. Let me give you a definition of that. I got that written right here. It says the United States operates as a constitutional republic, a form of government that involves representatives elected by the people who execute their duties under the constraint of a prevailing constitution that specifies the powers and the limits of government. And that's exactly that's exactly how our government is set up, as a constitutional republic. We vote the people in to take care of business for us, and if we don't like what they do, we vote them out. And so they don't have complete power, and then what they're bound to is the Constitution. And I like what it says in here: the Constitution, who execute their duties, the representatives, they execute their duties under the constraints of a prevailing constitution that specifies the powers and limits of the government. And especially our form of government, our Constitution, is the only one where the people actually have the power. It starts off, we the people. And we'll talk more about that in following videos that are coming up. But I just want to touch on this because there is such confusion about what we are, and a democracy, because we are not a democracy. We are not that. We are not where you get a mob of people, because that's just not the way they wanted it set up, because they knew that failed. Every democracy, they went back in history. There's a book, and I'll tag it down below. It's called The 5,000 Year Leap. And it goes back through the history of the people that the founders read and the things they looked at in order to come up with what we have. It's a great book by Cleon Skousen, and I'll link that in the whatever it is below. And so you can check it out. And I would highly recommend checking that out, because the more we know, the better off we are. There's a great statement by Benjamin Rush, who was one of the founders, one of the signers. And what he said, every member of the state, every member, that doesn't mean just the elected people, it means every person, every member of the state ought diligently to read and to study the Constitution of his country, and then teach the rising generation to be free. Because if we don't understand it, if we don't know it, let me read on. Let me finish what he said. By knowing their rights, they will sooner perceive when they are violated and be better prepared to defend and assert them. We need to know our rights. We need to understand. We need to read and we need to study the Constitution. It's important. I'm going to be talking more about this as we go along, and then just giving you some ideas, things we do, because we need to understand what our rights are, because the government doesn't have more rights than we do. They are confined to what they can do and what they can't do. The problem is we don't know, because we don't know the Constitution. And I want to talk to you more about that. So anyway, now you know we are not a democracy. We are a constitutional republic. I'll link where I got some of this out of, but there's plenty of places you can find it at. I found it on this one. Where was that? Let me go back here and find it. On usconstitution.net. And you can go on there and look it up. They got all kinds of good articles on there. And just look up Republic versus Democracy. And go in and tell you there's a great article in here. You can read the whole thing. And I encourage you to do that. And I'll link it down below. Okay, well, have a great day. And glad you tuned back in. And we'll see you on the next trip. Bye.